YouTube. Um, just woke up. It's 7:22 a.m. as you've seen on the bottom right corner of the screen, and I woke up to this quite a detailed description of what's upcoming for Path of Exile 2 over the next week, I believe. I haven't read anything yet. I don't know anything about it. I'm pretty sure other channels have talked about this because at this point I'm like 4 hours late. But we'll read through it together and maybe talk about if anything really excites me in particular, because I have stopped playing Path of Exile 2 because real life stuff has come up. And there's been a game release that's been pretty much taking up all my time called, if I can find it. Why can't I? Alright, hang on. Drop Duchy, that's the one. Yeah, this one. This game has been taking up all of my time, and I've also recently got back into Space Station 14, and I'm kind of obsessed with Space Station 14. In fact, I'm planning to upload a few videos of me just rambling on while playing around the Space Station 14. The only thing is sometimes these rounds can take very long amounts of time, so I'm still thinking of how to tackle that, how to make it interesting with the minimal amount of editing possible. But that's another issue. But yeah, let's get started and read through this together. So, another reason why I'm kind of excited about this is because a few days ago I caught a forum post by GGG that basically said, it's on their Discord. They talked about nerfing the volatile plant chaos orbs, which, if you've watched my videos before and if you've seen my death clips, you'll know that it's, along with the monkey in Act 3, it's probably the source of most of my deaths. Sometimes it's really tough trying to find them, and even if you do see them, it's really annoying because you have to keep dodging them and running around, and by the time they phase out, or by the time you trigger them and then move into a safe spot, a new batch spawns in, so that's never fun to deal with. But I didn't want to make a video on just that, but now that we've got a full post, we may as well go through it. So, we're continuing to work on improvements for Path of Exile 2, patch 0.21. That's a whole full one after the 2. Is in active development, and we're aiming to deploy it at the end of next week. I wish it was this week, but next week is fine. It gives me time to play all these games until then. Let's see what they are. Endgame rewards. Now, I have played the endgame a limited amount, and my biggest issue was that we couldn't juice the maps quite as freely as we would have hoped. In my opinion, we should be able to use the tablets on any map, and the towers should give us another bonus. Either should open the map up quite a bit, or allow us, or if you use towers with your tablets, maybe they give you more benefit. Maybe there's, so you can still use your crappy tablets on the smaller ones and save your big ones for the towers. It's the best of both worlds, and you're always running some sort of juiced map. So I think that would be good, but this is about rewards from what I see. When setting up the frequency of encounters and rewards for Path of Exile 2, we have to decide how many maps players will have to do in order to get them. Interesting. After extensive playtesting, we now believe that we overshot this number pretty substantially. See, people talk crap about GGG all the time, but it's stuff like this that always wins me over with them. They do listen to people, and they do eventually come on to where everyone else is. And from my opinion, it's okay to start out from a more strict position that suits their vision and then meet us halfway rather than the opposite, because when the opposite happens, you get Diablo 4 or Last Epoch, where everything's just, it's too much of a crowd pleaser, and it's not really fun to play, in my opinion. In 0.2 OG, we improved the baseline experience of getting rewards from monsters and chests, but we still feel you don't get enough of those exciting spike moments when something very powerful or valuable drops. There are actually some very cool items to find, but you won't ever find them because they are incredibly rare. Because I'm a bad player, I have played the endgame, but only about 20 or 30 maps before I ended up dying, so I didn't get anything super rare anyway. One of the major focuses on 0.21 is making these chase items more common, but also adding more chase items to be... This is good. This is really good. Alright, unique items. In 0.21, we're going to be significantly improving both the drop rates of the incredibly rare unique items we already have, as well as adding a bunch of new exciting and chase uniques that will take your builds to new heights. I'm actually kind of excited for this. We are also buffing some of the rarer uniques that were intended to be chase, but didn't live up to that standard. You should see significantly more chase uniques than before, and we'll be doing a post showing some of the new uniques next week. Alright, next week's gonna be a fun one. I love this period where you're anticipating what they're going to do. It always feels good. And we kind of get to feel that with Path of Exile 1 as well. Although I'm a little less excited about Path of Exile 1 than Path of Exile 2, simply because WASD movement has made my old 41-year-old brittle hands and joints feel a lot better than what I felt when I played Path of Exile 1. Like, I would have to stop playing Path of Exile 1 for days, because on my left hand I would get pain all the way from here. Like, it would almost feel, it felt like carpal tunnel, but across my whole forearm, and it got really bad around here, and this little bit right here on my pinky finger. It was really bad. So, frankly, that's one of the main reasons why Path of Exile 1 isn't as exciting to me anymore, as well as Path of Exile 2's combat being a lot better, and Path of Exile 2 running much better on my computer than Path of Exile 1, which is strange. I really do hope they finish porting things and eventually get around to, I want to say update, but more bringing Path of Exile 1 in line with Path of Exile 2 in terms of performance. Anyway, I keep derailing myself. I'm sorry, this isn't, for those of you who just want to learn about the patch, it's not been a good one. We're also buffing images and some more. Okay, crafting socketables. One of the issues that we have with socketable crafting system at the moment is that by the time you get to the end game, there isn't anything near exciting to find to socket in your gear. Another issue is you need to add more runes for the campaign, such as speed, but we'll get to that. Resistant attributes are great to help with solving problems in the early game, but in the end game, ideally you should be swapping all these out for more interesting and powerful mods in 0.21. We are adding 22 new runes, 14 new soul cores, and 7 new talismans. These cover a full spectrum of being powerful to insane, but are rare to find. You will certainly want to use them over the normal base set of socketables. Please look into adding speed runes as well. They can come in halfway through the campaign, but we really need it. If you put it in the boots, they should give you move speed. If you put it in your gloves or your weapons, it should give you attack speed. It would help a lot. It would be just like the crafting benches in Path of Exile 1, where we could just craft a minimal amount of move speed on our boots just to make us a little bit faster. Ritual also suffered from us pitching the chase rewards too rare as well. We're making the rarer omens from Ritual more common. You'll see the same number of omens, but they have significantly higher probability of being the rarer, more exciting ones. I mean, this is always good, right? Making crafting more accessible to everyone. I think that's a good improvement. Corrupted essences. While we're at it, we'll also be increasing the commonality of getting corrupted essence when using Val Orbs on monsters trapped in essences by approximately 6 times. That's good. We need essences. Not only do essences and greater essences need to be more abundant, but they also need to do more. I still think essences should do more than just give us one line of affixes for one use. But anyway, that's just me. Rogue Exiles just didn't have enough unique items, so we're increasing the frequency of the Rogue Exiles and thus drop unique items by approximately 3 times. So this is basically, this is the loot patch 0.20, if that makes any sense. So this is 0.2.0 G2, which is good. More loot is always good. Twisted Domain. The boss in the Twisted Domain was pretty valuable, but as an endgame area, the rest of it was pretty underwhelming compared to the other content you were doing at the time. Pinnacle content should be giving less rewards than dozens of maps required to gain access to it. I never got this far, but yes, true. To start with, we have substantially increased the number of rare monsters that spawn during the domain. Previously, there would often be no rare monsters at all. In addition, we have changed the balance of quantity and rarity that monsters in the domain have. This will mean that the large drop of items that occurs right before the boss fight should now be way more valuable than before. More loot? Happy me. We also now guarantee some rare beach rings in the resulting drop, so you should come away with at least a decent chance of some powerful items. That's good. Expedition logbooks. The 30 or so maps I did play, I never got one. One thing that makes logbooks unrewarding is the fact they that at very high levels they have so few monsters spawning that they often end up yielding significantly less items than just a regular in-game map. This is reflected in the fact that at low level 90s you could do an entire level 80, the highest possible level logbook, and not even gain 1% of a level of experience. We're doing a pass on that amount of monsters spawning to intensify the combat, but focusing on the very high level ones to better match the consistency of other in-game content. So that's great news. More mobs is also more fun. Sorry, my middle mouse button is actually not working very well. The first change is that we're increasing the distance between explosive and radius of explosives. This will allow you to ultimately uncover more monsters and rewards. On top of this, we're also increasing the number of monsters spawned to be more reflective of I can't wait to do. And logbooks was always fun in Path of Exile 1. I haven't had a chance to do it in Path of Exile 2 yet, but man, am I looking forward to it. Additionally, we're making changes to the specific features found in each of the different logbook areas. This is always fun. The Lush Isle area currently has a Karui totem remnant. Karui totem remnants that cause the monsters to give substantially increased experience. It also has fenced off areas where you can explode the fence and gain access to totems that drop a lot of currency items. And on the beaches, there are small corruption pustules that drop uncut skill gems. Good. A W, as the kids would say. In order to improve this area, we are increasing the number of remnants, especially the experienced ones. Additionally, we will generate more of the fenced-off sections, and larger change to the pustules will be made where destroying any of them will cause all monsters on Earth afterwards to spawn. Corruption monsters on death, similar to those in the corrupted area in the Atlas. Combined with the base changes, drastically increase the number of base monsters spawned during logbooks. It is intended that Lush Isle provides a very good source of experience. That's good. The Frigid Bluffs logbook area is an icy tundra with Val architecture, many Val monsters and Val remnants frozen in time. Okay. Aside from the traditional expedition monsters and chests, you can also explode these Val objects for free. Oh, Val objects free. Sorry. So we free them basically. The problem is these are relatively underwhelming. There are few monsters and they are not any more rewarding than normal expedition monsters, and on top of that, the remnants just cause the monsters drop to be corrupted, which is arguably a downside. Yes, corrupted items is never fun to deal with, especially because we don't have the corrupted currency items we have in Path of Exile 1. For those of you who don't know, there are special currency items that work only on corrupted items, like corrupted chaos orbs and whatever, which add and change affixes. And even then, like, it's very rare that you're happy that you found a corrupted item. There are some maps where you could find corrupted unique items, and that was always fun because you could get some really crazy things. But yeah, dropping corrupted rares is never fun. We're making a couple of changes here. On top of the Val monsters, we're now going to have some Val bosses frozen in time too. Okay. These are standalone map bosses that can be broken out and fought. All the remnant modifiers will apply to them as normal. Okay, so that's another place where I'm going to end up losing a couple of characters if I ever get there. The Val remnants that caused items to drop corrupted are being reworked now. They will generate with 1 to 3 upsides and 1 to 3 downsides that normal remnants have. Think of them as a super remnant. Okay, so a big remnant boss. The Barren Atoll logbook is an atoll that sea travelers and fishermen use to store their treasure and supplies. That area currently has crates filled with gold, strong boxes, and Ezomite runes. The issue is that the crates drop far too little gold, and there are far too few strong boxes and runes. Okay, so we're getting buffs there. After our changes, the crates are going to drop a significant amount more gold, and we're going to generate a lot more strong boxes. And by a lot, I mean over 10 times. Whoa! That's good. Of which could be unique strong boxes too. Oh, that's nice. The Ezomite rooms, aside from already adding rarity to all subsequently unearthed monsters, will also drop 2 to 4 additional runes instead of the existing one. Given we're adding some new chase rune drops, this may prove to be a good source to get them. So it's kind of like where we would go for certain power words, socketables in Diablo 2. I'm really curious to see what these powerful runes are going to have. That sounds very exciting. All these special features found in the specific logbook areas are also being added to the minimap so you can see where they are and plan well before starting to place your chain of explosives. Excellent. So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I wish we got some things for campaign. Alright, what else? Endgame content and variety improvements. A second main focus is that we're going to increase the variety of running endgame maps. Right now, did you know that if you were to generate 400,000 maps, that 150,000 of them would be hidden grotto? Oh my. We are certainly sick of running that area and fighting that same boss on repeat. The intention here is to normalize the frequency that different maps and thus boss fights appear on the Atlas. This will make things far less repetitive when playing the endgame, especially for many, many hours. Good. Citadel spawning has been adjusted now whenever a citadel is generated on the Atlas. It also ensures that it generates the other two types of citadels near it. This will prevent cases we have been seeing where players would, due to the whims of random generation, get many of the same citadel one after another and never be able to fight the Arbiter of Ash, especially when not in a trade league. SSF buff, always good to see. My cat's going crazy. Both these changes to Atlas layouts won't apply to areas of the Atlas that you've already revealed. In order to get the improvements, you would need to explore further away into parts of the Atlas that haven't been generated yet, or just migrate everything or reset. Although if you're playing softcore, I guess there's nothing to migrate to. Additionally, you can expect some other in-game improvements, such as reducing the danger of two of the ritual types that were just a ruckus of purple chaos explosions, and reducing the danger and increasing telegraphing of the volatile plant. Whoa! Reducing the danger and increasing the telegraphing of volatile plants monster modifier. Combined, these were responsible for over half of all player deaths in the endgame. I'm telling you, volatile plants were bullshit. This is good news. We are also, again, my mouse, I'm going down on my mouse wheel, but it's going up. We are also lowering some of the more dangerous map modifiers like elemental penetration to be more in line with others, improving the rewards and visibility of omens in the Viridian Wildwood unique map, increasing the radius to open class paths and breaches, reducing the pack size of the bats that shotgun you with projectiles in the Twisted Domain, and reworking the curse map mods to have counterplay. These are just some of the more isolated improvements coming. All good. So far, so good. Trial of the Sechimus. Alright. In Trial of the Sechimus, we've adjusted the affliction that caused you to have no energy shields to instead have your energy shield. Makes sense. This is for chaos inoculation builds so that when they randomly get this affliction, the run isn't effectively over. Oh yeah. I can imagine how that would be a problem. I don't really play a lot of energy shield builds, so but this was basically a free take for me every single time, but it's good to know. On top of this, we discovered a mistake with the chances of getting certain afflictions and boons. Specifically, there was one affliction, 2 minor boons, 1 major boon, and 1 pack that had 100 times the commonality they should have. Ooh, I wonder which one. This would have caused players to constantly be getting them as the first randomly generated outcome, as these boons were in particular the weaker and more boring ones, and it often would have made the runs less rewarding and interesting. Okay. Quality of life and user experience changes. We did some notable quality of life improvements in point H, but there are more coming. We have a huge improvement to searching on the passive tree when using keyboard and mouse. Now, when you search for passives by typing it in the text field, you can press enter to automatically find. Oh, thank you. You can never. Sometimes I'm not going to say never, but it's always tough seeing the little blinking circle. This makes it so much better. If there are number of passives found in your areas and continuing to press enter will cycle through them. It also darkens the rest of the passive tree to help bring the search noses to the foreground, making them much easier. Add this to Path of Exile 1 as well, please, because you have the same problem in Path of Exile 1. I'm hoping a lot of these quality of life features are ported over to Path of Exile 1 as well with the next big patch. A huge request has been that we invert the display of tier X on items when using advanced item display. This is so that you can immediately identify if a modifier is the best winner. This is more for advanced in-game players, but it is very important to be able to quickly assess the power of an item. We are swapping this back to work the same way as Path of Exile 1. Amazing. So now tier 1 means best, and tier 8 or 9 or whatever means worst. Oh, that's so much better. The only question I have, well, it would still work the same. So when you drop an unidentified item, a rare item, and it says tier 2, you just know that it's the bottom. Yeah, it wouldn't change it. You'd just be like, oh yeah, it's not going to have the bottom 2 tiers. And when you actually look at the item itself, it'll tell you what tier it is. Amazing. Amazing. This was a huge request. I'm glad they did it. And please also show gold on the UI. Like you do in the control when you're playing with control. When you play with control pad, you see the gold, how much gold you have on the bottom right, without having to go into your inventory. I don't know why that feature isn't available when you're playing mouse and keyboard. They should bring it to mouse and keyboard. On the Atlas, when you hover over a map, it will separate the categories of modifiers displayed so you can more easily wear them. Specifically, now you can determine if they're from corrupted or cleansed influence in one category. Alright, yeah, I always felt the information highlight was a bit weird. And if they're from towers in another category... Okay, and if they're from towers, and this will help make it clear when looking for specific modifiers like +1 level in corrupted influence areas. Good. More info, always good. There's also a performance improvement coming. We're optimizing the physics on monsters and NPC across the game, thus making them significantly cheaper and will cause less CPU-bound bottlenecks on performance. Ooh. This issue isn't prevalent everywhere, but it is common in areas with lots of humans, such as the Faradin in Act 2 or in Freythorn in Act 1. Yeah, Freythorn's awful. Continue to optimize these incrementally in every patch as we find all the suboptimal cases. Again, good news. We've also added some improvements to the shop and cosmetics panel, including an Equip Now button when purchasing microtransactions, and added a new skin slot on the cosmetics page for some future microtransactions that will replace your base character skin or model. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder, they wouldn't do because of the voice acting. I was wondering if you could get different genders, because if they did that, there would be, I mean, people would buy that. I know I would buy it just to see, but then you'd have to update all the voice lines. That summarizes our 0.2.1 patch that we're hoping to deploy at the end of next week, but we are keeping flexible as it may fall into the week afterwards. It's going to fall into the week afterwards. We will keep you updated with further changes and post some specifics on uniques and socketables between now and then. Thank you very much. No, thank you, GGG. That's really good news. That's really good news. I enjoyed those notes a lot, even though it was mainly focused on endgame. I'm sure some of those features will trickle down to the campaign where I, on Hardcore SSF, keep dying. Well, I did start a new character, and I am currently at the start of Act 2. I was planning to go back to it in a couple of days, but I guess I'll just wait for this patch. In the meantime, I'm playing other stuff, and I'm enjoying other stuff. I may try out the Sloremancer game. I remember buying it way back when, and apparently it's 1.0 and everyone's playing it and it's really good, so maybe I'll give that a go. Like I said, I'm really deep into Space Station 14, and I'm planning to post a couple of those over the upcoming days. Maybe I'll even do one today, depending on how good the round goes. And it'll just be me talking mainly and doing a little bit of improvisational roleplay. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff, so I just want to practice and get better at it. And Space Station 14 is always really fun. Space Station 14 is basically Space Station 13, but for Steam. And it's updated and it's better. The old client was a bit of a bother. And yeah, other than that, hope to see you guys soon with more videos. And if any of you decide to come by the stream and say hi, I'll be there every day. So yeah, thank you.